Hi my dear students. So today we will discuss about the sources of energy. Chapter 14, the sources of energy. So in your lower classes you may have studied about the various kind of energy, or very kinds of energy, that are the chemical energy, mechanical energy, heat energy, light energy, potential energy, kinetic energy. You may have studied all those things in your lower classes. So in this section we will study or discuss about the sources of the energy, which are the major sources of various types of energies. As we are considering the sources, we have to select some sources as a good sources. For our convenience, they may good. So for selecting such good sources of energy, there are some criteria, or those energy sources should follow some specifications, such as the source which would do large amount of work per unit volume or mass. Even if you are consuming a little amount of the energy, but their output should be very high. Such energy sources you can consider as a good energy source. And as well, they should be easily accessible. Their accessibility should be very easy. Availability should be more. Such energy sources also can be considered as good energy sources. Then as well, easy to store, and as well easiness of the transportation, and moreover that should be economical. Their cost should be less. Such energy sources can be considered as the good energy sources. Now let us come to the characterization of the energy sources. They are mainly characterized into two, that is the non-renewable and renewable energy sources. The non-renewable energy sources, actually day by day their availability is getting reduced. As we are consuming, the amount of the source is getting reduced, and the new one is not getting formed along with our consumption. Such energy sources are known as the non-renewable energy sources. As well, it is also known as the conventional sources of energy. The petroleum, the coal, all such sources are under the category of the conventional sources of energy or the non-renewable sources of energy. First of all, come to the fossil fuels. Actually, fossil fuels are formed by the anaerobic decay of the organic compounds, and it almost needed millions of years are necessarily needed for the formation of the fossil fuels. The petroleum products, the crude oil, and as well the coal, all these things are commonly known as the fossil fuels, and they are under the non-renewable energy sources or the conventional sources of energy. The coal and petroleum products are the major examples for the fossil fuels. The petroleum products, including in the petroleum products, that means the petrol, as well diesel, kerosene, all such things are under the petroleum products. They all are formed or differentiated from the crude oil, byproducts of the crude oil. So as the fossil fuels are the non-renewable energy sources, we are supposed to conserve them, and we have to save it for our coming generation. That's our responsibility. As our ancestors kept a part of the the energy sources, maybe the non-renewable energy sources for us, we are responsible to keep a part for our coming generation. If you are consuming these non-renewable energy sources or the fossil fuels in an alarming rate, we would soon run out of energy. We cannot use the diesel petrol cars as well, the diesel engine running the trains, planes, the transportation entirely, it will become, or it will stop in a all of a sudden. All of a sudden the transportation will not be there, the facility will not be there. So we are supposed to conserve these fossil fuels as well, the all non-renewable energy sources. The entire revolution, we can say the entire revolution was because of this, the invention of the energy sources like the coal as well the petroleum products. So the evolution as well the revolutions happen. But as it is having the advantages, the fossil fuels or the coal, all those things are having some disadvantages also. So we have to consider those disadvantages as well. As we are considering the advantages, we are supposed to discuss about the disadvantages also. First of all, the pollution. The pollution formed by the fossil fuels, or we can say the petroleum products or coal, is in a large range or in a large rate. Actually, when the petroleum products are burning, they emit the oxides of carbon, nitrogen and sulfur. Actually, these oxides are acidic oxide. The oxide, the gas itself, pollute the air, and as they are acidic, when it is raining, those gases will mix up with the rainwater, and it will fall upon the ground, the trees, and it will pollute our ground, the soil, and all. As well, the water resources, they will affect the water resources also. And the carbon dioxide emission will be more if you are consuming or if you are using the fossil fuels, and that will affect, or that will cause the greenhouse effect, and the as the result of the greenhouse effect, the temperature will rise. So that are some of the major disadvantages of the fossil fuels, as they have helping the human being to leap, but on the other side, they are having these types of disadvantages also. Now, as we have discussed about the fossil fuels, the byproduct of the fossil fuel, we can say the electricity in thermal plants. If you are considering the thermal plants, the electricity, the energy, electricity is actually the byproduct of the fossil fuel. We have to say like that, because from the fossil fuels, that energy, as they are heating up, the heat energy will be there. That heat energy will be converted into electrical energy with some machineries that we will discuss now. So the fossil fuels are converted into the electrical energies, electrical energy within the thermal power plants. So one activity is given in your textbook. So one cooker is there. Actually, we have to keep the cooker on the stove and we have to pour some water inside it and we have to boil it with the shutting the or with closing the seal. And the knob over the seal should be connected to a steam pipe, and the steam pipe will carry the steam which is emitted from the cooker, pressure cooker, and it will be allowed to fall on a turbine, and this turbine is actually connected to the dynamo. As the turbine rotates, the coils inside the dynamo will rotate, and as a result the formation of the electric current will be there. So by burning the fossil fuels we can produce the electricity. So that is actually happening there in the thermal power plants. The fossil fuels burn to produce heat energy in the thermal power plants. The transmission of electricity is more efficient than transporting coal or petroleum over the same distance. So if you want to transport the electricity, only 2 electric lines are enough. But transforming the coal and as well the petroleum products, you know that the road facility should be there, and the transporting the vehicle, for the transportation the vehicle should be there, and the manpower should be there. All those things are needed. But if you are converting these fossil fuels in the form of electrical energy, so it will be very easy to transfer from one point to another point, and very fastly you can transfer it. That is the benefit. So the many thermal power plants are set up near the coal or oil fields, so they can easily convert this oil or the petroleum products or the coal product into the form of electrical energy and transform it very easily and fastly. So the heat energy is used up the petroleum. By burning the petroleum products, we will produce the heat energy, and then this heat energy is converted into the form of the electrical energy. So that's why such power plants are known as thermal power plants. Okay, so that is the reason behind that name. Now we will discuss about the hydro power plants. So hydro means which is related with water. So these hydropower plants are working. Definitely it works with the help of the water. So you are familiar with the dam system. So in the hilly areas, by constructing the dam, we are restricting or resisting the flow of the water, and we will conserve the water in the dam. You know that a moving particle should have a kinetic energy. So the water is flowing actually, so it is having a kinetic energy, and whenever you are stopping its flow, then this kinetic energy will be converted into a potential energy. So there we can say this potential energy, actually we are using up this potential energy. This potential energy will be converted into the electrical energy. So here in this diagram you can see that in the dam, the conservoir or the reservoir, the water is conserved, and through the small pipe, through a small pipe from the bottom, this water is allowed to flow. So the pressure of this water is, for this water, pressure of this water will be very high, as it is having a larger height. It will have the height is larger, then the pressure over the bottom side will be very high. So you are allowing the passage of the water from the lower portion, and at one end there will be the turbines. So in the last case, the steam was allowed to fall on the turbines, but here the water itself with high pressure allowed to fall on the turbine. Hence the turbine will rotate, and as a result the turbine is actually the turbine is connected with the generator or the dynamo. The dynamo coils will rotate and you can produce the electricity from there. So these are the hydro power plants. So if we are considering the hydro power plants along with the thermal power plants, or we can say the fossil fuels, the demerits are very less, or the pollution they are causing is very less, but still there are some disadvantages. Comparatively, the hydropower plants are very we can say a very good source of energy, but still there are some disadvantages that we will discuss. Okay, so the hydropower plants convert the potential energy of a falling water into electricity. Since there are very few waterfalls which could be used as a source of potential energy, the hydropower plants are associated with dams. So actually, if the waterfall itself, if it is having an enough potential energy, if they can produce the enough energy, then we can use the waterfall itself as a hydropower plant. But the deficiency of the number of waterfalls, such waterfalls, because of that reason we are building the dams, and we are allowing, or we are stopping the flow of the water, and then we will use up those potential energy of the water for producing the electrical energy. The quarter of our energy requirement in India is met by the hydropower plants. We know that our terrain is actually hilly terrains. There are many hilly terrains are there in our country. So as well, the rivers, the number of rivers are also more in our country. So the quarter of the portion of energy that we are consuming is produced from the hydro power plants. So in order to produce high hydroelectricity, high-rise dams are constructed on the river to obstruct or restrict the flow of the water, and thereby collect the water in the larger reservoirs, and afterwards it will be passed through the small pipes, and then it will be falling, or it will allow to fall on the turbines, and as a in such a result the turbines will rotate. Whenever we are allowing it again to flow, allows again the water to flow, this potential energy, the stored potential energy, will converted into the kinetic energy. Okay, that stored potential energy will be converted into the kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy will help the turbine to rotate, and as a result we can produce, or we will produce the electricity. So the major disadvantages we will discuss now regarding the hydro power plants. The first one is the construction of big dams. There are so many problems. Means as there conserving in the reservoirs. There are thousands and thousands of liters of water. So when we are constructing the dam, we have to construct it in such a way to store that much quantity or resist that much potential energy. So that is very costly and a time taking process it is. And as well, we can construct these dams only in a limited number of places only. That are preferably the hilly terrains. And as well, whenever we are constructing the dams, the large areas of agricultural land as well, the human habitation are getting affected. Because whenever the dam is constructed, and when we are filling up the dam with water, a wide area around the dam will get submerged in the water. That is the major reason. And that will affect the ecosystem of that particular area, destroy that ecosystem. And whenever the water is submerging the particular area, the organic particles over that area will be undergo the anaerobic decay, agitation. As a result, the production of large amount of methane gas will be there, and that will affect that will increase the greenhouse effect, because that is all the methane gases are a reason behind the greenhouse effect. So the opposition to the construction of Tehri Dam on the river of Ganga and the Sardar Sarav project on the river of Narmada are majorly due to these reasons: the agricultural fees and the ecosystem, and as well the human habitation. The people, those who are living around such areas, have to evacuate from there, and they have to find some new areas. All such kind of things are very difficult. Such kind of some demerits are there, but still comparatively, comparing to the other sources, as well the nuclear power plants and as well the thermal power plants, the hydro power plants are very good source of electrical energy or good source of energy. Okay, so this much things you should read the textbook. The textbook is containing so many a wide range of ideas. The things are there in your textbook. You just read the textbook very well. That is enough actually. For this chapter, if you are reading the textbook, that is more than enough. And understand the concept. And we will continue this lecture in the coming video. Maybe tomorrow also I will send one or two topics video. Just by evening, you just go through that one also. That will help you. And the question answer sections are also remaining. We have to discuss that one also. So be cooperative. Wish you all the best. Thank you.